Hi, Taurus. I'm worried about the glare, so I'm not going to use my computer because I don't want another debacle like the Virgo reading. So we're just going to do it on my phone. Boy, you guys are lit. And so there isn't much to worry about except how Taurus behaves when they're lit. We want to be real careful when we are so. Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. The money is coming, but also the emotional connection and the love. Abundance. The rivers of abundance flow to you. And then we have the Sun, the Five of Cups, and the Knight of Cups in reverse. So there probably are people who feel a bit left behind, a bit out of the loop with the magic, if you will. Not everybody can go, you know? And because it's in reverse, I would say that if you're dealing with a water sign, you may want to look at it. They may feel like you're leaving them behind, like your successes don't equal our successes. These are some common complaints when Taurus begins to do well and begins to really pull in and focus on self, which you need to be doing because you need to set yourself up right now for at least a decade, and it will be so prosperous. It will be so good for you. But the way other people feel about it, it's real. You know, they have their pains, and then underneath the Three of Swords is the Lover's card and the Ace of Swords and the Emperor. So we have this interesting Mercury in Aries and Mars in Gemini business going on. And I think if there's anything that you need to be careful about when you know you're lit, it's how you're going to communicate. Because I think the only thing that can trip you up is your superpower, which is your voice. You want to say things right now, and you should, and you have a lot to say, and it will be very good for you to say it. But you have to be careful about your delivery. And all the other months and all the other times, that's like something we casually mention, like Taurus, you know, you can be sharp. But when everything is going super well, why the Sun in reverse? Because it's all going really well. And yet the Ace of Swords is there. Like, careful, you have the ability still to not take your blessings away because they're definitely pouring in from every side. Not that, but to make the ascent unpleasant. Why should it have to be? You know, people are going to try to make it unpleasant anyway because they do feel like they're being left behind. And you may feel some weird obligation to take everybody along, but you also are keenly aware that you can't. So the Five of Cups in reverse, it's, you know, it's sad for everybody involved, not just for you and not just for them. And yet there is no connection between the grief there. It's a self-centered time, and people aren't used to you being in that energy. They want you to be about them while they're about them. The second Taurus is about themselves, it's a really big problem. And when you're so lit, you will be about yourself, and you should be. So how to now navigate between what you know you want and need and is coming to you and how other people feel about it. As months go, relatively easy. As birthday seasons go, fantastic. Right? Let's see. So also at the bottom of the deck here, we have the Six of Cups and the Seven of Cups and the Four of Cups. Okay. It becomes all about your feelings. It becomes all about what you stand to lose if you don't make this ascent up in every facet of your life. If you don't level up right now, you have to upgrade not just what you're doing, which way your job and work is going, but also which way is love going. At least we know it's going to cut out. It's better than it cutting out randomly and now we don't have to deal with the glare. It's about being regretful later because there was this moment when you should have spoken, when you should have said the thing, and then this abundance, the Ace of Pentacles, that abundance would spread to other parts of your life. The first 2 weeks of May, you're thinking about it. Like, should I say something? How should I do it? I don't know if I should. People are wondering if they're watching, if you're a cross watcher, you're like, does Taurus even like me? I don't even know what they're like. They're not giving me any signs. They seemed interested and then poof. And then they're around and then they're gone. Like, what exactly is going on? More so than usual. Well, you don't know yourself. In the first 2 weeks, you're just confused. Second 2 weeks of May, you're like, I got this. I want to do this. Let's do this. Let's talk about it. Let's plan it. Let's do whatever we got to do. But I'm just wondering if there's a cosmic joke here in that it'll just be too late. Because I see that you start to get this clarity, like, oh no, if I don't do something about this aspect of my life, when things are going super well, you know, it does focus us a little on where it's not going so well. So I see you thinking about it, being confused about it, really letting it, you know, sink in, doing your Taurus thing, and then the second 2 weeks of May, you're like, I got to do something about this. This is crucial. What have I been waiting on? I have to move now. And I'm just wondering if that's too late. So what do we do then? I would say if there is someone that is a potential, if you're a cross watcher and you feel like you're a potential, do the casual, let's not mess around or do anything like that, but let's just kind of hang or exchange memes or do whatever your version is of banter. Just to keep the Taurus from getting too afraid of how big this is. Everything is getting big. Everything is getting bigger. Everything gets even bigger, to the point where the Sun in reverse is also about these opportunities coming in where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can even handle one more opportunity like that. Ace of Swords, even more, you know, opportunity that makes you have to think outside of where you are. Mercury and Aries, you need to be right on top of that technology thing. Like, what's the newest software you could be using? What's the newest stuff that you could be integrating into what you do to make you better at what you do? Missed opportunities now is the name of the game. There's so many coming in, and certain ones you really don't want to miss. But when there's so much coming in, 9 of Cups, there's a tendency, you know, to get lost there in which ones are the most important. So you need to get really good at energetically sifting through stuff and feeling your way to the stuff that's really good for you. And addressing the 3 of Swords along the way is probably a really good idea. Let's look at them. This was fairly pleasant. This was painless, relatively painless. We should do this on the phone more often, I feel. Don't you think? It works. It's easier. It's much more mobile. If it's not going to cut out, if it's a timed cutout, that's super easy. Did my Vedic Taurus just use new technology and integrate it into something that I already do? That just made my life so much easier? I would think yes. Okay, Taurus, it is your season, and it might be a little bit of a boring read to say, hey, there's so much good stuff coming in that you have to get really good at looking through it. But, you know, as readings for seasons go, could be awful. Of course, the 3 of Swords and the 4 of Cups, there is pause there. But this is all stuff that you're wrestling with, that you're processing, that you're thinking through. By the time you get to middle of May, 3rd week of May, all this obsessively looping about certain things, it makes sense to you. And you're like, oh, that's why I was doing that. What I was saying was there's things about this that you don't want to feel. These are feelings that are sublimated. And they're coming to the surface because when you're doing super well, the light shines evenly. You know, the sun shines evenly on everything. And the aspects of your life that aren't doing well, they start to take up space in your head, and you may already have been feeling that, you know, like, hey, I know I should be really grateful. I'm really happy for the way things are going, but kind of lonely. Would be nice if that would get fixed. So now you have some relief coming in with the Lovers and the Six of Cups, but it depends a lot on your behavior. You can easily walk out of Taurus season and say, I didn't even do anything. I didn't even meet anything. Nothing romantic happened to me. But you had a lot of chances and you didn't take them. And you had chances to be risky and be brave and be forthcoming about your feelings. And if you take those chances, you'll be singing a different tune by the end of the month. And it's your birthday month. Go for it. Take a risk. Tell someone how you feel. Okay, Taurus, I love you. I will see you in a second. Hi, Taurus. Here we are. So let's take a look again. Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, the Sun in reverse, Five of Cups in reverse, Knight of Cups in reverse. If there's a past situation here that's really wanting to show its face, especially if it's a Gemini, especially if it's an Aries, coming in really strong. If it's a Leo, I'm not sure if they want to come back around or if they're having a hard time getting over what's happened between you guys. If this is you, you've gotten your heart broken by a fire sign, namely a Leo, and you're having a really hard time getting over it, you might be thinking of reaching back out. I don't think you should. Not in the kind of emotional state you're going to be. I think right now it's really easy to perhaps either fall back into a bad pattern or attract someone who reminds you of a pattern that you've moved on from, like a test. We also have Mars in Gemini and we have Mercury in Aries. So you have this really strong urge, because the planets are flipped here, to communicate, but it's off. Even though it makes total sense to you, it's too aggressive. Even though it seems completely logical, it's not going to come off that way. So no matter how much of a point you think you have, you just want to be very careful if you're thinking of accusing someone of something, if you're thinking of beginning a new relationship, if you're thinking of beginning a new business. We want to get real clear on what our gut is telling us, and sometimes when we speak, we're not thinking. So I would look at this and say, just be more cognizant of how you feel. And you know that Taurus thing where you can kind of say before knowing you're going to say it? We've often talked about that as your horns entering the room first. This is a month where it's very obvious here that you have to be careful. And also, you have to be careful that the abundance and the power don't get to you, like I said at the beginning, in a way that ends up hurting you. So even the abundance is a test. And towards the end of the month, something that you have been contemplating quite a lot and really trying to sort out, something that's caused you a lot of confusion. And the reason it's caused so much confusion is because you're like right there, like you think you understand it and then it's elusive. And your mind works on it all through May until you get to the last week of May and things make a lot of sense. And then you realize, all that confusion, all that mulling over, all that thinking about the past, thinking about what didn't work,
if you don't communicate out of haste the things you end up coming up with, the new ideas you end up coming up with, especially in terms of communication. All of this mixes and blends together in a beautiful way, with you avoiding the pitfalls of hurting yourself. And because you have this wealth of peace towards the end of the month, this long-standing topic that you've been mulling over, as Taurus does, gets very, very clear. Now, does that necessarily mean there's love there? Okay, so the cards say yes, but I think that this Six of Cups is more just about you figuring something out that, yes, it's been confusing you, and yes, it's been on your mind, but the conclusion you come to takes you back to when you were a kid. And you're leaving May and leaving Taurus season, coming into Gemini season, thinking, oh, well, I've known that since I was a kid. Well, yeah. If Taurus season is nothing, it's about getting back to your roots. And that goes for you too. So reapproaching those roots in a new way, like reading a book again and seeing where you are, you know, how books can become barometers for us. In the same way, you reassess your roots by tackling certain things in a new way. So if you are feeling a bit confused, if you are feeling a bit stuck in the past, if you are feeling a little nostalgic at the beginning of the month, don't be too hard on yourself. There are things that you need to communicate, and first you need to process them, and it's just not always happy fun things either, you know, and that's fine. But you leave May and you begin Gemini season feeling really, really good about it, about whatever it is that you figured out. And as many times as you can avoid this combo right here that's couching all this really dangerous energy for you, every time you can hop over this or use these energies productively, at the end of the month you will be able to sit back and say, whoa, I avoided that and that and that and that. Okay. And make no mistake, the things that you come up with now, the sun pouring into this major arcana here, the things in which you do innovate, the aspects of your business in which you do, perhaps in terms of technology, update, all of these updates, all of these improvements will be well received and prosperous for quite some time into the future. Long money. All right. In the extended, we'll go through and we'll clarify card by card, but have a look here at what's at the bottom of the deck. Like I said, just feeling really good, feeling like you've won, right? Feeling like there is some karmic retribution on the horizon for you, especially if it has to do with an air sign that may have been quite cavalier with your feelings, let's say. All right, we'll look at that in the extended. Taurus, I hope you like this new setup. I'm really excited about it. I'm very happy about it. There is, let's see, a few housekeeping things. There's a guided meditation below for Taurus season. The extended is available through my website, on Vimeo, and through PayPal. All the links are below. And links for the merchandise, for the sweatshirt. We have an event coming up in New York that is almost sold out. It's a live podcast event that will be held in Brooklyn on April 28th. So you can check that out in the link below as well. I think general admission is sold out though, so I'm sorry if by the time this makes it to you guys, it's gone, but Let's see. You can try. All right. Love you. See you in just a second. And if I haven't said it yet, happy birthday, kid.